Harvey, this has been going on for a few weeks though, like one after another in the film geek culture.
Oh man, started with Devin Faraci and got worse from there.
Yeah, Harry Knowles, and then last week Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah,
and also now
surprise you? Does it surprise you about Harvey Weinstein though?
Let me mention another guy that's just gotten caught doing another film guy. The guy who, I don't know his name, Andy something. The guy who started Honest Trailers, which I hate.
Oh.
He's also been let go from the company that I guess he started by after allegations of more sexual misconduct. It doesn't surprise me that Harvey Weinstein. No, everybody knew that he was an asshole. No one wanted to say anything because they didn't want to be blackballed out of the industry because he was too powerful, I guess. Which that's on them. If they knew about it and didn't say anything, I guess that's on them. But it was common knowledge that he was a general asshole, and to artists taking over their movies. He has a huge temper. No doubt things were thrown at underlings, and threats have been probably leveled by him against people. So why wouldn't you believe that? Also, there's sexual harassment and in the mix there. I mean, why wouldn't you believe that? Of course, it's no surprise to me.
One newscaster said that he started masturbating in front of her or to her in the hallway of a restaurant.
And then he finished off in a potted plant that was sitting nearby. That's the kind of thing you just couldn't even make up. Really, it's like what? But
he's a pig. He's a pig. So I have no problem though.
His own brother.
I have no problem believing the stuff in Down and Dirty Pictures, published 15 years ago. Yeah, about him.
Well, his brother hates him, and apparently, and they've had a contentious relationship all throughout their success and everything. And apparently, Bob Weinstein is possibly the person that sort of released a lot of the information that led up to this story being printed in the New York Times. And then you've got the Harry Knowles thing. And by the way, all these guys are like heavy set. I don't know what Devin Faraci looks like. Except
he was
I know he's got
a long time though. He was, and I know he lost weight, but he was. But there's just no excuse. I don't care what they do. There's no excuse for this kind of behavior. And they hushed it up. I think Alamo, though, let's talk about the other victim here, is Alamo really shot themselves in the foot. The Alamo Draft House chain by, when Tim League basically said, that Devin Faraci's been working for me, behind the scenes. That's what really started all this, remember? I mean, a couple of weeks or months ago. And there's talk that Alamo really just destroyed their brand in just a matter of minutes. I mean, because remember the thing with Harry Knowles, these incidents happened at Alamo Draft House.
Oh, they did? That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. What were you going to say, Jamie?
Well, I mean, yes, I'm vehemently opposed to sexual harassment, and it's, these are geeks probably who never talked to a woman before in their life. And all of a sudden they have this sense of inflated power and ego, which is silly. I mean, because Harry Knowles runs a website that a 2-year-old could build. It's this fake kind of empowerment that they feel to do this shit. So if they were, it's a major character flaw that obviously it speaks to a major character flaw in these people. And it's bad. It's wrong. But I think it's also wrong for anyone that's ever been associated with them to pay for it somehow. it's so easy to smear people nowadays and have it stick.
Mm-hmm.
Just where you're guilty by knowing someone.
Yeah.
It's a little distasteful to me. But if you're in any company and you're proven to be a harasser, then you should be removed. I mean, there's no question of that. And I'm sure the Alamo Drafthouse thought, well, he's working on himself, and everyone deserves a second chance. In Devin Faraci's case, and I mean, they were made to pay for that, for trying to give him that second chance.
It's not just that, though. All right, I can understand that, but here we have this incident with Harry Knowles, which happened repeatedly at a couple of times, not repeatedly, but a couple of times at Alamo Drafthouse. And what's really bad about it is that some of the women he did this to, like Britt Hayes, who writes for the Alamo Drafthouse site, one of them, The Birth Movies Death, and it used to be Badass Digest. I don't know what it, it's just, if it keeps, they try to just sweep this or keep this hush-hush under the rug for a long time, it sounds like. I agree with you, Jamie, about the whole thing about the smear and everything, but if they were accomplices in this, I do think they need to be held responsible.
That's true.
Well, they say something like, "We'll just stay away from him." Is that what you're talking about when they got complaints about Harry Knowles? Which is so kind of stupid to me. I mean, I got you on that point. Because he's too powerful to not be associated with. I mean, this is a fat kid that probably lived in his mother's basement for most of his life. I just this new generation of like fake celebrities. I mean, that's what these people are.
That's true.
Harry Knowles has never been worth reading. I think the geek culture that he's brought on, and I recognize the name of our show is Movie Geeks United, but the geek culture that he brought on, I think is largely pretty worthless. And
it's not only that.
It distracts from
with that.
What movies, the true importance of movies.
That is absolutely the case. That's exactly why I've always.
It doesn't matter now. I mean, you got to also remember the thing about Harry Knowles is the last couple of years, this site, he has fallen. I mean, he would do GoFundMe's or whatever. He's lost whatever money he did have. He lost. I mean, he's had his name. Yeah. The days of ruining a movie by him are long gone. I mean, we're talking a good 10-year. Remember the whole thing with Batman and Robin? Remember that whole thing? That's how he actually became very popular, was because their site broke the thing that the movie was horrible. And they were the ones and that's how he gained his street cred or whatever you want to call it. But the last couple of years have been very unkind to him. He burned a lot of bridges, and a lot of the guys that wrote for him left after this thing. A lot of the guys just left. A lot of people just didn't want to associate with him anymore. And my question about that's all fine and everything, but did you know he was doing this? It must be that people must have known about this. I mean, this could not have been a shocking thing, like people knew about Harvey Weinstein. It just doesn't sound, there's got to come a point where if this had never been called out in public, would people still, be there?
But how far? Well, there's a couple of things with that. I mean, it's telling that when Harry Knowles goes downhill, that's when this stuff comes out. It's not when he's at the peak of his pretend powers.
Right.
That it goes really massively public. Same thing with Harvey Weinstein. I mean, everybody knew about the temper and that he was inappropriate at times. But Harvey Weinstein is not the player that he used to be. I'm sure he still had power. We still talk about his power every Oscar season, but less and less. I think the Weinstein Company probably would have gone downhill a lot sooner if it hadn't have been for Bob Weinstein. At a certain point, Bob Weinstein was the one that made that company profitable. He went out and he made his scary movies and all that kind of stuff, and they were the only movies that really made much money at some point for the Weinstein Company. And Scream and all that kind of stuff.
If people knew about, obviously Alamo, Tim Lee really, it was a bad judgment call on his part to give like someone like Faraci a second chance.
I agree.
And we all thought I mean, it was a bad.
And especially considering there's so many people out there, so many suitable bloggers that they could have gone to for that material.
Can I just bring up something real quick before we, there was one guy who now is like trying to get back into this, but the guy who started Chud long ago, Nick Manzita, gave all these guys their big break. Really good guy, and I guess he went back to selling cigars, but he tried to break into, he was in the movie business, produced, worked with Guillermo del Toro, and he's really sort of the unsung hero that never gets mentioned, because he was the one who gave Devin Faraci his big break. And how did he repay Nick? Nick didn't have the money to pay him to go to some film festival, so what does Devin do? He leaves Chud because he's so angry that no one's going to pay for his flight or whatever, his plane ticket or hotel, that he leaves and goes to join the Badass Digest thing. And we don't, these guys needed someone to help, give them a break. Everyone thinks that Devin was this great thing. He's really an asshole. He told people to commit suicide online. A real asshole, epic proportions. Really conceited. And let's not make he wrote some good stuff, but hell, I can name you, like you said, Dean, there are a lot of guys who wrote great stuff during this time. But there is a guy, this guy Nick deserves credit. He gave a lot of people their big break. No one ever talks about him, but he made all this possible. A lot of people want to say Harry Knowles. Harry Knowles only made being a loud, obnoxious piece of shit acceptable. Let's be honest. This is a guy who people went on his site for the last 15 years to make fun of him. If you've ever read the comments, they're hilarious because no one reads the reviews because they're unreadable.
They're awful.
It's
the worst. The worst reviews online, I think.
Yeah, I think his reviews, particularly, he writes these long-winded. He makes Terrence Malick look cohesive.
Yeah, and they always add this stuff about I don't need to know what route you took to drive to the movie theater.
Yes. We don't need to know what you did before and did afterwards and all that shit.
I don't even know what the
stupid. It's stupid.
Well, and I got to say this too. I mean, these topics are so sensitive. I do realize that a problem like this is systemic. I just can't understand it. If I made a girl feel uncomfortable, which I've only really been in relationships in my life, I've never spent much time flirting or trying to woo people. I just kind of fall into relationships. If I made somebody feel like that and they weren't receptive to it from the start, I wouldn't like feeling skizzy like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's wrong with these people? I mean, that's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling to know that you're making making a woman feel scared or uncomfortable or whatever. It's like, ugh, I don't want that.
Show me your tits and I'll let you into this movie. It's like, what? I mean, that isn't I don't know. I don't know what that is. And it's not just an inability to get a girlfriend or something. I mean, that speaks to something else.
He's married. He's married, for crying out loud, Harry Knowles.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know that, but
he's been married for a long time, guys. I mean,
I guess if you have, look who Harvey's married to. Harvey's married to a beautiful, a beautiful woman, obviously, and but man, all of these guys are horrendous. And wouldn't have women unless if they weren't successful, if they didn't have money or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't have money.
Because
let's just get right down to it. They didn't have money.
Because they're horrendous. They're to a man, they're all horrendous people. I mean,
which lets you know that even without that power, they were like that. Just by virtue of having that power, it allowed them to feel empowered to display it more. But it's a character flaw that's present in you before. Yeah.
Yeah. No amount of money or power is going to ever,
erase it. Yeah. True. It's true. Yeah, but it couldn't have happened to 4 more assholey people. I mean, tell you the truth. I'm just. eating up the plate of Schadenfreude in front of me. Just I love it. It's so tasty. I love it. Just if I never see, particularly Harry Knowles, who I just find so insulting on so many different levels. Particularly, you know, his effect on the movie industry and on film criticism. If I never see him again, it would be.
The main detrimental effect that he has on film criticism is people looked at it and said it was criticism, which was enough.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. I mean, could you imagine? What's her name? The one that, not the Paulette, but not Pauline Kael, but the flip side, her Saris. Could you imagine either one of them like getting in the ring in a fucking boxing match because they don't like one another, like Faraci did with that Mumblecore director?
Yeah,
I mean, could you imagine him doing that childish shit?
Yeah. It was stupid.
I didn't know about this.
And Joe Swanberg knocked him out, right? I mean.
Oh, Swanberg.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Swanberg's kind of a big guy, so I hope so.
You know, he did. I mean, Devin. I think Devin also got punched. I got punched in the stomach by Richard Dreyfuss. I'm not making that up.
Wow. Here is a great white. Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss is in Tampa this weekend. He's at some kind of comic book convention. He's doing the Comic-Con circuit. Richard Dreyfuss is.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. I am Richard Dreyfuss.
You got to do the laugh.